Okay, so today we're diving deep into a single source.
Okay.
But one that's just like overflowing with emotion and insight.
Right.
Psalm 39. Now, you probably already know Psalms, right? Ancient Hebrew poetry.
Yeah.
But what makes this particular psalm so fascinating, so gripping, is how it explores these like deeply human experiences, stuff we all deal with.
For sure.
We're talking about like, you know that struggle when you just want to like scream at the top of your lungs, but you got to stay silent. Or, you know, that feeling of frustration of like life just slipping through your fingers.
Yeah.
And ultimately trying to find peace, you know, in something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, I think what gets me about this song, even if you aren't like a religious person or anything, it's like it captures these super raw universal feelings, right?
Yeah.
The fear, the desire to like speak truth to power, you know?
Totally.
And just trying to find meaning when like everything feels meaningless.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And a psalm kind of jumps right into it, right? It starts with the psalmist, David.
Right.
And he's making this conscious choice to stay silent.
Yeah.
In the face of, well, he calls it evil. You know, clearly there are people around him who he considers wicked. He's like, nope, I'm going to hold my tongue.
But you know, it's interesting because silence back then, it wasn't just about like not making noise. It was almost strategic. Like a calculated move. It could even be like an act of defiance.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because back then in David's world, you know, palace intrigue, shifting alliances, real danger.
Right.
Speaking out of turn could, like, literally get you killed.
Wow.
So, silence. Could have been self-preservation, you know? Maybe even passive resistance.
That's so interesting. It makes you think, doesn't it? Like, how often do we censor ourselves in our own lives?
Oh, all the time. Right.
Right. Yeah. And is it always the wise move?
Yeah.
To not speak up?
Right. Or does it become its own kind of trap?
Exactly. Yeah. And with David, you can tell, like, that silence, it's not peaceful, is it?
Oh, no. No.
It builds. It's like a pressure cooker, you know, simmering on the stove.
About to blow.
Oh, yeah.
This is where the psalm gets so relatable.
Oh, Cody.
You know what I mean? That pressure cooker anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't say something, I'm gonna explode.
Yep, been there.
Haven't we all?
And what I love, what makes this song so real, is that it doesn't shy away from that, right?
Yeah.
David's not pretending everything's fine.
No.
He's struggling. He's like wrestling with these huge emotions.
Right.
And he's honest about it.
Yeah.
Even when, you know, his frustration, it's aimed at God.
You really feel that heat, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
His anger, his frustration.
Yeah.
It's like building and building in those verses.
Absolutely.
And this whole, like, struggle with silence, it seems to push David into this, like...
Even bigger crisis.
Yeah.
An existential crisis.
Right.
He starts thinking about, like, how short life is.
Right.
How fragile. Comparing humans to, like, fleeting shadows.
Shadows.
Yeah.
That's powerful, you know?
It is.
Because back then, their idea of the afterlife, Sheol, it was shadowy, indistinct. So it's not just physical death, you know? It's like, what's the point of it all if it just fades away?
It's a huge question, isn't it? It's like, if we're all just temporary, you know, what does it mean?
Yeah, and faced with that, this massive question, what does David do? He turns to God.
Right.
But not with, like, praise or thanks.
Interesting.
It's a raw plea, almost defiant.
And this is where things get even more, like, intense, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's acknowledging his own flaws, his shortcomings, but he's also, like, demanding deliverance, not just from his enemies,
right,
but from God's own, like, harsh discipline.
It's bold.
It is bold.
Audacious, really.
It is.
He's not afraid to confront God directly.
It's that boldness, that rawness that makes this song connect with us, even thousands of years later.
Because it's real, right?
Yeah.
It's not blind obedience.
No.
He's not just accepting his fate.
It's a conversation.
It's a dialogue, a real relationship.
Full of tension.
Yeah.
Messy.
But real.
And that's what makes the psalm so powerful, right? It's not about, like, blind faith.
No.
It's about wrestling with it.
Questioning it.
Yeah.
Seeking a deeper connection, even when it's hard.
Even when it's messy.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging all of it, you know?
Yeah.
The good, the bad, the painful, the joyful.
A whole spectrum of human experience.
Yeah.
And then as the psalm comes to a close, David, He compares himself to a temporary resident, a stranger just passing through.
Yeah.
And he's begging for mercy before he disappears, fades away.
It's almost like a ghost story, isn't it?
It is. It's haunting.
And if you remember, like, the Israelites, they saw themselves as wanderers.
Oh, right.
Sojourners in a promised land.
Right. Always looking for that permanent home.
Yes, both physically and spiritually.
So this idea of being temporary, it really resonated with them.
Very deeply.
And it still resonates today, I think.
Oh, for sure.
We've all felt like outsiders, you know, yearning for belonging.
Yet need to find your place.
Exactly.
Place to call home.
So Psalm 39, it doesn't offer, like, easy answers.
Nope.
Or a neat conclusion.
It's messy.
It's a raw expression of, like, human struggle, wrestling with these huge questions.
The big ones.
Facing those, like, you know, painful emotions.
And that's what's amazing, right? That this ancient text, thousands of years old, still speaks to us, like, today.
It does.
Our anxieties, our questions about life, death. It's like these struggles, they're timeless, universal, part of what makes us human.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Psalm 39, here's something to think about, okay?
Okay.
If you could have that kind of honest, raw conversation with, like, a higher power, what would you say? What would you ask?
Wow.
What would you demand?
Good question.
What truths would you be searching for?
Yeah.
What fears would you finally, like, confess?
Yeah.
It's something to ponder, to sit with.
It is.
Until next time.
See you then.
Bye.